Hello, everybody out there. How are we doing tonight? My name is Dr. Ray Tomos. I'm the host of your show here on the Hot Corner. Want to welcome everybody into the show here tonight. We got a great one for you. It should be a lot of fun. We're going to have the online live draft of our first ever Hot Corner Fantasy Baseball Listener League. We've got 10 players locked, cocked, and ready to go. And we're going to kick off some fantasy baseball draft tonight. Before we get to fantasy baseball, we're going to actually have a little bit of a health topic. We're going to start the show off with a health topic today. Normally we wait for it at the end, but today, since we're going to be doing the draft for the second half of the show, we're going to go ahead and start out with some health topics. So we're going to be talking about weight loss here on the show. If you guys have any questions about weight loss at all, or if you have trouble losing weight, or if your girl is having trouble losing weight, or if somebody you know is having trouble losing weight, we're going to talk about some of the things that it takes to do that and some of the common ways to get it done, and then some of the not-so-common ways to get it done that can be very effective. So we're going to be talking all about weight loss and those types of things. So we encourage you guys to call into the show. And we want to give you the call-in number. It's area code 347-637-3978. Again, that's 347-637-3978. And you can also tweet us. You can tweet your questions to me at Dr. Ray T, so that's DRRAYT, or you can tweet our co-host, which I'm going to introduce in a moment, Mr. Manuel T. Ferrero III, at ISPSO, or you can hit us on Facebook at facebook.com/ISPSO or facebook.com/353HEAL. So plenty of ways to get in contact with us if you guys have questions about weight loss. If you want to find out what's happening with our fantasy baseball draft, you're more than welcome. And without any further ado, I would like to introduce the man, the myth, the legend, the lion that makes lions, Mr. Manuel T. Ferrero III. Manny, how you doing tonight?
Yo, Dr. Ray, I'm excited tonight, brother. I'm excited. It's draft night for our fantasy baseball league. I'm excited, man. I'm going to win it all.
Yeah, that's what you said about football, too. Yes, sir. That's excellent.
Yeah. But, hey, you gotta be positive, brother. You got to be positive. What am I going to come out here and say, that I'm going to lose?
No, you're 100% right, man. If you don't think you're going to win, you definitely ain't winning. So definitely good to hear some confidence. Looking forward to it. We've been talking some draft strategy over the past couple days, the past couple shows, excuse me. So, that's one of the things that may have benefited you, Manny. But it's going to be all for fun, man. We're going to have a couple first-time players here, a couple people from ISPS that are going to be involved. So we're going to talk about the different players that we have. We're going to break down the picks as they go through. And we're just going to be basically giving good information. So if you guys have never played fantasy baseball before, you're interested in it, you don't really know what goes into it, that's what we're going to be talking about here on the show tonight as we go through the draft. We're going to talk about picks that are kind of out of the norm. We're going to talk about guys that may be reaching for somebody. Fantasy baseball is really awesome because there's so many players to pick from, and any of them could be great. And what ends up happening is, some guys reach for guys that think that they have a good feeling about or whatever the case is, and sometimes they flop and sometimes they come through. So when it comes to the fantasy baseball draft, it's all about getting guys for value. And, the better guys that you can get later on in the draft, the better that your team is going to be. But also, fantasy baseball, you got to remember, it is a long season. It's not, it's not like football where there's 16 weeks. It is, a good 6 months almost that we're going to be going at this. So we're going to have a lot of fun over these next few months, and we're going to see, who is it that can keep towards the top of the league. We're going to be having a head-to-head matchup head-to-head matchup league. So each week it's going to be split up, and basically we're competing for different stats. And Manny, believe it or not, you and me are playing for the first week. Did this happen in fantasy football too?
I see that, Dr. Ray. I definitely think you have something going on, some type of rig. I don't know how this is going to happen now. Again, Dr. Ray against my team. I don't know, man. What are you doing behind the scenes, brother?
Man, I tell you, I have absolutely nothing to do with it. I don't even know what the draft order is, as a matter of fact. Maybe we'll see if they see if we have the draft order ready to go yet. I don't even know. Did you create the draft order, Manny? What do we have here? What's going on? Let's take a look. Let's go in here.
Dr. Ray, you're talking to me in Chinese, brother. This is my first time. I don't even know. I have no idea what's going on.
Oh well, you're gonna have some fun here with this, Manny. But guess who has the first pick?
Oh, don't tell me Dr. Ray, huh?
I have no idea how it happened, but the draft order was randomly selected by Yahoo. But yes, I do have the first pick.
How do you see that? Where do you see that?
If you go to Yahoo right now, you can actually log into the league already, and you can go to Enter Live Draft, and it will tell you the draft order and all the available players. Right?
Enter Live Draft.
So right now I have the first pick. It looks like you have the fourth pick, Manny.
Oh, not bad at all.
Not too bad. 4 out of 10. So I actually like the fourth pick because you're going to be able to get 2 players that are going to have a really good value coming around into the third round there. With the third and fourth round should be very, very good for you because, or excuse me, the second and the third round, because you're going to get 2 players that are fairly close, and that's kind of when the pick-ins start to get slim with the top-tier players right around that time. So you should be able to kind of work things the right way, and you should be good. So one thing I want to encourage is that you click on the information on the guy on the right next to the players' names that tells you about the updated information, any news that has come out, simply because of the fact that there may be some injuries that happen. Every day injuries happen in baseball. Some are worse than others. So that's what we want to be careful with, and we want to try to look out for. You don't want to draft guys like Yu Darvish that are out for the season. Be careful with that because they may still be ranked high here, but at the same time, they're not going to be playing at all. So there could be a waste of a pick there. So I definitely recommend to be careful with that. And we'll see as people start to kind of come in here. We've got 10 teams again. We've got, there you are, Manny. It looks like you just joined. Excellent. Perfect. So we've got 21 minutes until draft time. Manny, did you have any questions you wanted to get out of the way before we start drafting, before we get into our health topic of the night?
Wow, man. I know. I'm just looking. So, what do you think I should go for first, Dr. Ray? All around player, like a everyday player instead of a pitcher?
It depends what's there. I mean, there's different tiers of pitchers. There's different tiers of hitters, and I'll tell you that there's more really good hitters than there are really good pitchers. There's only about 5 pitchers that I would say that are in their own top tier that are going to go out and perform, pretty much amazing every time that they go out there. And then there's a couple of hitters that are the only ones that are going to be able to contribute in multiple categories, like Mike Trout, Andrew McCutchen, Goldschmidt, Stanton even. These guys all give you 5 categories to somewhat of a degree. And so, it all depends on what it is that you want. It depends on how you want to structure your team. It depends on what you value more. It also depends on what's going on with the league. We have 2 utility players. So in addition to starting a catcher, first base, second base, shortstop, third base, and 3 outfielders, we also have 2 utility players, which means that hitters might start to go a little bit quicker and start to get a little bit deeper as we go through because we're starting an extra player there. So that's something to think about. But it all really depends on what you want to do. As the draft goes, you have to be flexible. You want to come into a draft with a plan, but you got to be able to change that plan and start to go. I like to try to take the guy that's going to be the best player, the most consistent player as often as I can throughout the draft. And if I see that a position is starting to get really scarce, I might have to reach, like if all the second basemen are gone and, the only person left there is something like Scooter Gennett, I'm going to try to get a second baseman in there if I don't have one. So, it just all depends on what's going on. But I would say that if you are picking now, just try to get the best player on the board. If you're there and Clayton Kershaw is still there, I might take Clayton Kershaw or I might take Max Scherzer. I mean, it depends on who you have a feeling about. I tell you, if I was you and you're at number 4 and Stanton is still there, that's definitely who I'd be taking. But we'll see what ends up happening. I'm looking forward to it a lot. 19 minutes left until the draft on the dot right now. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit of health. Manny, I know this isn't a problem that you have because you're a pretty fit guy, but there's a lot of people out there that struggle with weight loss.
Tell that to my wife.
Tell your wife. All right, well, maybe not fit, but not overweight.
No, actually, you know what? And I think this is a good time to talk to you about it, Dr. Ray, because it's the health topic is weight loss. We just got a new scale at home, a family scale that we keep in the bathroom under the vanity, under the sink there. And I keep checking it almost every day, and it tells you my BMI. And according to their little chart, I am a little bit overweight. I am right there just over the threshold. It says anything above 25.0 is overweight, and I am at 25.7, I believe.
Well, I'll tell you what, as far as BMI goes, it's not something that I particularly like because BMI does not take into account any type of muscle, any type of muscular deviation. The only thing that BMI accounts for is height and weight. So BMR is different. BMR is basal metabolic rate. BMI is body mass index. And so the two are completely different, but one of them tells you, based on your height and your weight, maybe what type of risk you may have for being overweight and those types of things. And the other one tells you about how many calories do you burn every day just from being awake, or just from being alive. And so it's a very big difference between the two. BMR is extremely important when it comes to losing weight, because that's one of the ways that we can calculate how many calories are necessary for you to be able to lose weight. How many calories should you be eating? So that's one thing that we'll talk about. But the other one, BMI, which you're talking about, does not take into account, as I mentioned, any of the muscular people out there. So if you're an athlete, for example, and you have maybe 6% body fat, but you weigh more than you should because you have more muscle, you can clinically be obese if you go by BMI. I'm clinically obese if you go by BMI. Now, I'm not exactly six-packing and skinny here, but I'm not obese either, so it's because I'm short and stocky. And so when you're short and stocky, it completely just misleads you. And I'm not obese by any means. By body fat percentage, I'm a little overweight, but I'm not nowhere close to being obese. And BMI has that differently. So if your BMI tells you you're obese and you're muscular, pay no attention to it. Now, if your BMR is low, that means that you have low muscle mass. So that's something that we want to work on, because the more muscle you have, the more calories you burn every day. So that's why weightlifting is very good to actually help you burn fat, because not only does it push out intramuscular fats and those types of things that get stuck in your muscle and make you weaker and more fat from the inside out, but they also make your BMR go up. So BMR is basal metabolic rate, and that's really how we start to base weight loss clinically. How many calories do you burn just from being awake and alive? And once we know that, we can start to factor in calories from exercise. And this becomes caloric expenditure. So how many calories are going out? Now, once we know how many calories are going out every day, we can calculate how many calories do you have to put in to be in what's called negative caloric balance. So if more calories are coming in than out, you're gaining weight. If more calories are going out than coming in, you're losing weight. Okay, so that's something that's... Go ahead.
So how do I calculate my BMR? And should I throw away this scale that my wife bought?
Well, don't throw it out, because it's still going to tell you your weight. But as I mentioned, don't worry about the BMI.
It tells me a bunch of other information, which I think you need like a rocket science degree to figure it out. But it's all scientific, and it has the little blue lights, and it's all made of glass. It's really, really nice. Maybe next time I'll pay more attention, and I'll write some of these numbers down for you, and maybe next time you could decipher them for me.
Yeah, definitely. We can talk about that for sure. That's not a problem at all. So we'll take a look at that, and we'll go over it. But right now, the BMR, again, is what helps us figure out those calories. So we're going to do a little bit of math real quick, because that's what math is all about, or that's what weight loss is all about, basically. It's really just an equation. Can we make it so that less calories are coming in than are going out? So once we have that BMR plus the exercise calculated, then we know, all right, we have to keep you under that. Now, every pound of fat is basically equivalent to 3,500 calories, all right? So if you can reduce 500 calories a day or burn 500 more calories a day, you're going to lose a pound of fat a week. Now, a pound of fat is much different than body weight pounds. Body weight pounds include water. They include other things as well, too. So losing a pound of fat may actually be more equivalent to losing a couple pounds on the scale. So that's something that is, a lot of people kind of don't know that those aren't synonymous, that they're not the same thing. But the goal is, as a practitioner, to have people lose 1 to 2 pounds each week. You don't want to lose weight very fast, because if you do, your body will try to get you back to that same weight. You have something called set point theory. And that set point theory basically means that your body wants to stay where it is. If you make slow changes, it'll reset that set point, though. So if you notice, when you gain weight, you don't normally gain 20 pounds in 2 days. It's 20 pounds over a year, and it's, it takes time to gain this weight. And that's why your body gets used to it. Now, if we do the same thing and lose weight very slowly, your body will, of course, get used to it. So those are some of the things that we want to take into account when we start talking about weight loss. Making sure that the caloric expenditure is in a negative balance, meaning that you're burning more calories through exercise and by being alive than you are eating and taking in on a daily basis. And if you can stay negative, you're going to be in the weight loss column. Now, there's a few other factors that go into this as well, too, because there's factors that influence your metabolism and that BMR. So number one, if you are unhealthy and you have any imbalances in your body, hormonal imbalances especially, it's going to be very difficult for you to lose weight. So one of the things that I do when people are having trouble losing weight is I do a hormone test. Now, with females, a lot of time what happens is, because they're stressed very often because they're worrying about things, they start to create a hormonal imbalance where they start to make what's called estrogen dominance, and they have less testosterone. And when their testosterone, yes, women do have a little bit of testosterone. It's only a little, but they need it, and they need it to actually lose weight. That's what increases their metabolism. So sometimes what starts to happen is they become estrogen dominant. And this is bad in so many ways, and I'll highlight a couple. Number one, it makes their periods worse. It makes the moodiness worse. It makes their skin more oily. It makes them crave more sweets. All those types of things happen. It makes their cramps worse. It increases their chance of cysts in the breasts and in the ovaries. So all those things happen with estrogen dominance. In addition, they can have trouble with insomnia and all those kinds of things. So if you have, or you know, a woman that's having trouble losing weight, gets very moody, has really bad periods, breaks out during her periods, has really tender breasts or ovaries, or has any problem with cysts, it's probably because she has a hormonal imbalance. And that's something that we can take care of naturally at my office, just so that you guys know. But let's keep it to weight loss here. So weight loss-wise, we start talking about things like, okay, this is the food that you need to eat to keep your calories down, but also to make sure that you're getting nutrition. You can eat things that are very low in calorie, but at the same time, you may be eating things that are very low in nutrition. And that can be a problem because if your body doesn't have what it needs nutrition-wise, it also will be very difficult to lose weight because you make hormones with the things that you should be getting from your diet. So stress will increase cortisol, which is another hormone, and decrease testosterone, and that's something that creates problems when it comes to weight loss. So if there's trouble losing weight, normally it happens because there's some sort of an unhealthy balance of hormones or stress response or something else happening in the body. So that's one thing that you want to pay attention to, and that's one thing that a lot of these diets don't take into consideration. You can do an HCG diet. They're going to put you on a 500-calorie diet every day, and give you injections of a hormone that tells a woman that she's pregnant. You will lose weight. You will lose weight very fast. The moment that you stop doing the HCG diet, you're going to gain all your weight back, if not even a little bit more. So if you want to lose 20 pounds for a wedding in 3 days, or in 3 weeks, go ahead and do the HCG diet. You'll get it done. But the moment that you eat something and have a beef Wellington at that wedding, the next couple of days you can expect to start gaining that weight back. So that's something that you want to be careful with. But the nutrition, I'd say, is about 75% of weight loss. The exercise is what makes up the rest of that. And, of course, this means that you're also a healthy person, meaning that you don't have any of these imbalances that are going to affect your metabolism. So if you're having trouble losing weight, if you're not eating any calories and you're still not losing weight, that means that you should get a checkup, probably by a functional medicine doctor, because those are the people that are going to be able to identify imbalances as opposed to disease. If you go to your regular doctor and tell him, hey, I can't lose weight, he's going to say, all right, well, there's not much that I can do to help you here. There's no weight loss medication. But if you're exercising and eating well and you're still not losing weight, functional medicine is the way to go. You guys can give me a call. That's what we do in my office as well, too. We work on balancing the hormones, balancing the body, and making sure it's healthy enough to actually lose weight. So that's one option that you guys have there. And we talk about all these things. We look at blood work, we look at hormones, and we look at stress, and we try to balance it all out and mitigate damage. And that way we get the body to start to lose weight, burn that fat. Now, one thing that we have to be careful with when it comes to weight loss is that when you lose weight, your fat cells are actually what hold the toxins in your body. So as you start to burn fat, you also start to release toxins into your body, which can make you feel bad and potentially create some of those imbalances in your body that we were talking about. So supporting detoxification during weight loss is also very, very important, especially since hormone production is going to increase, meaning that you have to metabolize those as well. So there's certain things that you want to take when you are trying to lose weight, and those things are B vitamins as well as support for your liver in order to help it detoxify as much as possible. Hydration is also extremely important, so you have to take that into account as well. So there's a lot that goes into weight loss. Sometimes it's not just as simple as eating less and exercising more. It can be, unless there's a health issue at hand. So if you're doing those things and you're not improving, it's time to get help from a professional. Sometimes it'll start with a detox. Sometimes people will be so unhealthy that you can't start with a detox because it'll make them feel really bad, and then there will be no exercise, and there will be plenty of comfort food, and that's where we start to run into a problem. I know we have a couple minutes left. We got about 5 minutes left before the draft starts. Manny, did you have any questions about anything that we've gone over before? Did any of that sound familiar, or anything sound new to you that you don't understand?
No, but I never heard about that BMR. I'm going to definitely take that into consideration and try to calculate. Maybe you could help me out and see what type of calorie intake I should come up with to stay under and have a negative calorie intake ratio. And that's per day, right?
Yeah, that's every day. We want to try to analyze your BMR is what's going to burn every day. And then, of course, your calorie intake is going to be how many calories are you bringing in each day? So that's something that we want to take a look at in order to make sure that people are losing weight when they are doing the right things in order to do so. So that pretty much covers weight loss. We can talk a little bit more. Maybe next week on the show what we'll do is we'll calculate a couple BMRs and we'll help people kind of understand how it works. And we'll talk a little bit more about that, and we'll follow up with the best ways to exercise to lose weight. A lot of people think sitting on the treadmill is the best way to lose weight. I can tell you here right now, it's not. So if you guys want to know the best way to exercise in order to lose weight and why go ahead and listen in next week, and we'll tell you all about it. So that's all I got to let you guys know about weight loss tonight. Right now, let's go ahead and let's go over to some of the fantasy coverage here. Uh-oh. We got some calls. We got a call, text, or a tweet. What do we got going on here, Manny?
We have a message here. I just received it on Facebook. Is it possible to lose weight by just detoxifying, even if it's a little? Since the fat is holding the toxins, once the body gets rid of the toxins, once the body gets rid of the toxin, does it need the fat anymore, correct?
Gotcha. Okay, so if I understand the question right, will detoxing help you lose weight? And the answer is yes, because normally when you detox, you can't put in any food that is going to make you gain weight. And so that's really where the detox comes in, because it really helps you decrease calories by eating more fruits and more vegetables and those types of things, as opposed to processed foods that have a lot of calories but not a lot of nutrition. Also, supporting metabolism helps a lot with that detoxification. So I wouldn't say that the detox helps you lose weight as much as the diet that you're on when you're doing a detox helps you kind of lose the weight. But as I mentioned, you want to be careful detoxing and trying to lose weight, because if you're really toxic and you start detoxing, you could create more of a problem and, again, not feel that well. So good question, definitely a good question, one that I get very often, and hopefully I was able to answer it there for you. Did we have another question, Manny? I know you rang the doorbell twice. Was that for the same one?
There was for the same one. It was just sent in a two-part question.
Gotcha.
So the chime came in twice. That was all, Dr. Ray. But I see already we're getting some players into the draft board here. We have less than 2 minutes left, Dr. Ray. I'm getting excited, man. And this draft board looks real nice, real nice. I already have my stars here next to my players. I'm getting ready.
There you go, my friend. That's what I like to hear. So we're getting up and getting ready to go here. 1 minute and 37 seconds here coming in. We're getting down to the wire here. We got some teams that are waiting to sign in here. But we should be ready to go in just a little bit. I may have to draft very slowly here in order to allow people to kind of come in. Let's see here. We got Brandon Manasso with the second pick. We've got Team G Code, our one of our Florida directors, Gabe Caride, with the third pick. Then we've got Manny with the fourth pick. We've got Albert's team, number 5. We've got Jose Aries' team at number 6. We've got Roundin third coming around at number 7. I like that name. And then we've got Arancibia Bailbonds. He's back from our fantasy football league. We've got Maiden Date at number 9, and then of course one of our loyal listeners, Shelly. Sorry, Shelly, that you got number 10. But what else can I say except for at least you get 2 picks back to back, my friend. And it looks like we're about 30 seconds away from getting in.
Wow, I'm getting excited.
Here we go. So we're going to talk a little bit about draft picks and everything going on. Let me see here. All right, so with the number 1 pick, I mean, it's pretty easy. I think pretty much everybody in the world that has the number 1 pick is going to go with Mike Trout. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. And the reason is because Mike Trout contributes in multiple categories, and he is not very often injured. Now, an injury can happen to anybody at any time. But there are some guys that are more prone to injuries. Derek Holland, for example, the pitcher for the Texas Rangers, he is hurt all the time. It's a knee, it's a shoulder, it's an elbow. Now, it's not that he's out for the season all the time, but he ends up losing about 7 or 8 starts every year. And if you can get a guy that may not perform quite as well, but will actually give you more starts, you have more of a chance of getting some other things like innings pitched and strikeouts and so on and so forth that may help you out a little bit more. So it's always better to get guys that are less injury prone so that we can try to so that we can try to basically get as much out of them as we can throughout the whole entire year, right? So Mike Trout is one of those guys, and as I mentioned, 30-plus homers, 100-plus RBIs, 100-plus runs, 20-plus stolen bases usually. So these are the types of things that a lot of players aren't going to be able to contribute. There's not that many 20-20 guys out there. And 20-20, of course, means stolen base and home runs. So that's one thing that we want to get going. So looks like we're starting to get everybody filling in here. We got almost everybody in. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make my pick here. And let's go ahead with Mr. Mike Trout. There it is. First pick in the draft off the board. And now we have
Nice, Dr. Ray.
Now, let's see. There's a couple ways that he can go here. He can go with McCutchen, who's another all-around player. Again, 20-plus homers, maybe 20 stolen bases there. That's an option. For this year, maybe not quite the high run and RBI total as Mike Trout, but very close. And then we have Paul Goldschmidt. Goldschmidt, of course, more power, more RBIs, more runs, but less stolen bases. So it depends how you want to formulate your team. If you feel like there's guys that can get you steals later on in the draft, then, you want to go for more power in the beginning. But the guys that are power average combination, those guys are difficult to find. So those are all things that people want to try to take into account here as we get going. All right, so, there you go. Clayton Kershaw taken off the board with the second pick. So Team G Code is up right now. We've got Gabe Caride in. And he took Andrew McCutchen, and he took him pretty quick. So we've got Gabe,
here we go.
McCutchen. We've got Manny on the clock. So Manny, you've got a pretty interesting choice here, man. You got Goldschmidt, Cabrera, Stanton, Abreu, Gomez. You've got all these guys that can contribute in multiple categories. So for you, it's who do you like? Who do you want to watch more? And what do you want to do?
Really quick. I was talking about this earlier today. Miguel Cabrera, Jesus Christ. And he's also from the small town where my wife was born in Venezuela, Maracay, Venezuela. But Giancarlo, man, and I think he's coming back with a vengeance this year. I'm going to go with Giancarlo, man. Giancarlo Stanton, Miami local boy. So here we go. What do you think, Dr. Ray? Giancarlo or Miguel Cabrera?
Personally, I don't want to be the guy that drafts Miguel Cabrera in the year that he starts to decline. I would rather go with a player that's young, that's up and coming. So if I was in your shoes right now, I'd be going with Giancarlo as well.
All right, here we go. Giancarlo Stanton, go Marlins.
There it is with the fourth pick.
Here we go. We got Albert coming up next.
Yep, and Albert we know is listening right now, so we'll see who Albert's going to go with here. He's got an interesting choice as well too. He's got some pitchers that he can take a look at drafting right now at this point as well. The pitchers are probably going to start to come off the board here a little sooner than later, I would imagine. But it does look like he's got an interesting choice. Let's see what he's got going on here. Now, if I was in this position, I'd be looking at some guys that are going to contribute both power and average, and that's where I'd be going. Oh, and Albert picks Felix Hernandez, so he bypassed.
Pitcher.
There we go, and then we got Paul Goldschmidt off the board. All right, so two quick picks here: Felix Hernandez, and then Goldschmidt off the board with the number 6 pick. And then let's see. Okay, we got Cabrera taken the number with the 7 pick. All right, so he's off the board now, and now we have Mr. Arancibia on the board here. So on the clock, he's got 1 minute and 18 seconds left here, and let's see where he goes. Now that we already had a pitcher off the board, sometimes we'll see these runs happen where one pitcher goes, and then all of a sudden everybody starts to go. So, he decided to go with Jose Abreu. So the 8th pick in the first round, Jose Dariel Abreu from the Chicago White Sox. Cuban crusher last year. I mean, this guy just was wreaking havoc on American League pitching, and one of the best. And a lot of people are predicting that he's going to have that great year again. There goes Bautista off the board. All right, let's see what we got now. Bautista's off the board. Now we got Shelley up. Shelley went ahead with Carlos Gomez, and he gets a back-to-back pick, so he's going to go with Carlos Gomez, and let's see who comes up next here for him. Looks like he went with Carlos Gomez and Edwin Encarnacion. So he gets Encarnacion at first and Carlos Gomez there in the outfield. So he's looking like he's in pretty good shape there to start off with first baseman and outfield, although there's not a lot of position scarcity going on there. There's a lot of outfielders. There's a lot of first basemen. We could potentially have some skinny hitters later on in the draft because of that second utility position. So there goes Robinson Cano. There goes...
wow, man. Wow. What is going on?
Adam Jones off the board. Max Scherzer with the 14th pick off the board. So the third pitcher taken here already. Now we got Jose Ayers' team coming on up here. Let's see who he's going to go with. All right, he gets Anthony Rizzo from the Cubs at first base. So all in all, everything has been pretty standard here. I'd say the only difference is Felix Hernandez jumping Max Scherzer. You haven't seen that often so far, especially since Scherzer made the jump from the American League to the National League, and he's having an outstanding spring. And he's already a high strikeout pitcher. You add in, the pitcher spot from the National League, and that could potentially mean an increase in strikeouts for him. So, a little odd there. But either way, good pick. We'll never know what's going to happen. Right now we got Chris Sale just went off the board, so the fourth pitcher now off the board. We've got Mr. Manuel T. Ferrero III, the lion that makes lions.
Wow, man. Wow.
Ready to go here. Manny, let's see. What's it going to be, my friend? You got a lot of options right now at this point. You got shortstop, you got third base, you got second base. So you're up towards the top of the top of the draft board here, and you got a lot of different talent to choose from. So it depends now. This is going to mold your picks later on in the draft. What do you want to do here? Do you want to go with position scarcity? Do you have one of these guys that you really like, but you know that you're not going to be able to get coming around? Remember, you have one.
I'm scared about the pitching. I see everybody picking up pitchers now. What's going on with that?
Well, that's what it's all about, my friend. You got to see where's the run's going to come from. What do we have going on here? Still a lot of really good pitchers on the board. Just depends on what it is that you want to do here.
Oh, man. All right, here we go, Dr. Ray. Here we go, Dr. Ray. You know what?
Yes,
there we go.
So, all right, so a pick from the Dodgers.
I'm going back to my roots, Dr. Ray. Going back to my roots.
Yes, sir. There we go. All right, so let's see. So far, So far you've got a pretty stacked outfield, my friend. So far you've got Stanton and Puig. So far Stanton and Puig, and I'd say that's pretty good right there so far. So let's see what we get coming around. We've got Team G Code up. We've got our Florida director, Mr. Caride, up. Let's see who he's going to go with here. Right now he's got so far on his team Andrew McCutchen. And he goes with a pitcher.
Oh, man, he picked up a starting pitcher, Steve Strasburg. Wow.
So Gabe goes with pitching. Strasburg, one of the young phenoms in the game, high strikeout guy. So we'll see how that goes. Now, one of the things in head-to-head pitching, in head-to-head matchups, pitching is one thing that will go quickly because getting those studs on your team, especially in two-start weeks, can be really, really good. Now, some guys have a different type of an attitude where they'll take pitchers later on in the draft and just pick up and drop pitchers and pick up and drop and pick up and drop throughout the year and play matchups. So if you don't get the studs in the beginning, that's always an option for you. But right now,
thanks for letting us know that, Dr. Ray, now.
Hey, well, listen, I'm in this league too, you know what I mean? I can't give away all the secrets, right? So, here we go. Let's see. We got Brandon who selects Madison Bumgarner. So we got Bumgarner off the board. Bumgarner off the board. Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to follow suit here. I'm actually
I
going to
knew
go
it.
What's that? What did you know? What did you know?
You were going with a pitcher now, man. I'm going to get stuck with who knows what.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what you're going to get stuck with. But remember, you have a pick coming up in just a few. So no sweat, Manny. No sweat. I'm still trying to decide here what it is exactly that I'm going to be doing. Trying to figure out who we're going to be going with here. Let me see. We've got some position scarcity still. Some players up towards the top. Let's see. We've got Donaldson available. We've got Adrian Gonzalez. Pujols is still out there. There's a lot of guys out there still, that could potentially make a big difference. We've got Altuve up there who's at a position scarcity. There's a lot of guys out there with position scarcity right now, and I'm not going to be picking again for a long time. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go with the first pick I'm going to make is going to be David Price. High strikeout pitcher. I think that he could be pretty good over there in Detroit. And then, let's see. Oh, we've got a call, text, or tweet here. Manny, go ahead and let me know what we got while I'm making up my mind here with this second pick.
Yeah, Dr. Ray, they want to know who are some of the players that you think might have their breakout year this year?
All right. Give me just 1 second here. Let me take a look. There's a couple players I think that could break out this year. Give me just a moment. I'm trying to make a decision here. Right now I'm battling between a starting pitcher and one of these hitters here that could be pretty good. Let me see. I might have to go with stolen bases and average here from a guy that plays at a position where you don't normally get that, and I think I'm going to go with Jose Altuve, who plays second base for the Astros. He's high stolen bases, not a lot of home runs at all, but I'm thinking I might be able to get some power here coming up in the next couple of rounds.
Isn't Altuve the smallest player in Major League Baseball right now? And I believe he's from Venezuela as well.
Yes, he is, and he is the smallest player in the majors right now, and he's actually my height. So my hat's off to Jose Altuve. Good job, my friend.
There you go, Dr. Ray. That means you still have a chance, brother. You still have a chance.
Still have a chance. Every time that I watch him play, I'm like, hey, this looks like MLB The Show when I created myself.
Yeah, man. No, man, it's funny. Now that you mentioned watching MLB, the other day I was watching. Well, I'm not going to mention which game. I'm not going to mention the player, but it was pretty cool to see one of our past players that used to play over at Chapman Field. Over there playing in Major League Baseball, and he is he's a decent known player on a well-known team. So I'm pretty sure you know who he is. I'll talk to you about it off the air because we can't mention his name obviously because of Major League Baseball and all that stuff with their contracts. But it was pretty cool, man. Really, really, really proud to see a former ISPS player on the Major League field. And now we have Team G Code is drafting right now. He has 24 seconds.
And it looks like he's struggling, too, with the decision here. He's not quite sure where to go. But I wanted to get back to the question that was asked earlier about who might be breaking out this year. And there's a couple guys that I think can have a breakout year this year. And a couple of them, I'm going to let you know kind of in the middle rounds here. One of them is Nolan Arenado. From Colorado. He could have a great year at third base. He played last year in kind of a injury-shortened year, but still did great. I think also Jason Hayward could be a very good comeback player. I think that the new scenery over there in St. Louis might be good for him. I think right here from the Marlins, I think that Christian Yelich is going to take a big step forward. I really like Cole Calhoun from the LA Angels. I think that now he's going to have a full-time position. He was very productive last year when he was in the lineup. He's had a few injury concerns in the spring so far this year. Nothing major, but just one of those things that worries you about a guy kind of being hurt all the time. So we'll see what ends up happening there. But those are just a couple guys that I think could be, taking a step forward this year. And if we go all the way down the list, all the way to the bottom, one of the late round picks that I think might be good this year is actually the second baseman from the Atlanta Braves, Jace Peterson. That's a sleeper pick right there. Go ahead and take that name.
Dr. Ray, I'm actually 20 seconds in. What do you think about John Lester, starting pitcher?
I think he could be great for the Cubs, making the move to the National League, of course. I think he could be very good.
There you go.
And there he is.
I picked up my first pitcher right there, John Lester.
There he is, and Adrian Beltre is off the board right after you. We've got Jose Arias' team coming up right now. Let's see who it is he's going to take. And he goes with Hanley Ramirez with Hanram. So Hanley Ramirez off the board now. Let's see what we got here.
Hey, listen, look at Albert saying that I'm whining here on the Smack Talk board.
Of course.
I ain't whining, man. Dr. Ray is cheating, man. I'm trying to help everybody out.
Man, he's for the people.
Dr. Ray, how could Dr. Ray pick first pick and then have back-to-back in the second round? It's crazy. It's crazy what we're going through here. Oh, man, Tulowitzki just left.
So Tulowitzki off the board, Donaldson off the board. So now the shortstops, the third baseman, it's starting to get thin there. We've had a couple. We had Hanley Ramirez and Tulowitzki gone. We had Rendon, Beltre, and Donaldson gone. So, it's starting to kind of get slim pickings again. And there's still 9 picks until my turn. There goes Ian Desmond. So another shortstop off the board here. So they're flying. Finding a good shortstop now might be a little bit more difficult. So some people might be more inclined to wait a little bit farther on down the draft, or some people might say, man, I better take somebody right now. So, it all depends on what you feel is going on. We've got Johnny Cueto off the board, another pitcher down off the board there. So let's see what we got going on here. Bryce Harper goes off the board there. Jacoby Ellsbury off the board very quickly there. That was a pretty quick pick that got made. We got Jose Arias' team up again now, and he's going to go with Justin Upton. Albert's back up on the board now. Let's see who Albert's going to go with here. He's got a lot of pitchers up towards the top, and he goes with Freddie Freeman. So he takes the first baseman. Freddie Freeman.
All right.
Definitely a good pick with Freddie Freeman. They contribute a lot. Manny, let's see what you got going on here now.
Dr. Ray, what do you think about Cole Hamels, Zach Greinke, Justin Verlander? Which one stands out for you?
Well, I like all those guys except for Verlander, quite honestly. I think that Verlander, we've seen the best of Verlander's days. Cole Hamels, he could get better potentially throughout the year if he gets traded to a better team. But I think Greinke is going to be playing for the best team out of all of them. You don't necessarily want to chase wins, but I think that might be the best bet there in Zach Greinke.
Okay, all right. Let me see here. What about Anthony Rendon or Buster Posey? What about that Yu Darvish?
No, don't pick Yu Darvish. Don't pick Yu Darvish. He's out for the whole entire year. You got 5 seconds. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Oh, Zach Greinke. There it is. All right, we've got the G code up right now.
I love it.
Yeah.
This is great, Dr. Ray. This is I'm very pleased that we're doing this year.
Yes, sir. Well, again, it's just to keep everybody entertained and informed, and we can have a lot of fun playing some fantasy baseball, and we can have some fun with the Smack Talk throughout the year. So I'm looking forward to it here. And let's see where Team G Code goes. Let's see who his pick is going to be here. And there's a lot of pitchers left. There's a lot of hitters left. We got Pujols still out there on the board. So we've got a lot of guys out there that are still left that could potentially make some noise here.
Ray, you need to stop talking so much, Dr. Ray. You're giving all these tips away, and I'm still about 6 picks away, Dr. Ray. What's going on?
Sorry, my man.
Let's talk about the picks that have already gone away. What do you think about Zach Greinke?
Well, I think Zach Greinke could have a pretty good year. I definitely do. I mean, he's been very consistent. He's got that great curveball. Probably a little bit more confident now in his second or third year over there in LA. I'm looking forward to see what exactly it is that he's going to do. And you know, I think that he's going to have a great year. I think last year, if he didn't get beat up by Carlos Quentin, he would have been in really, really, really good shape and had an all-star year. So, you know, we'll see what happens there with him. And let's see here. Again, we're starting to kind of get the slim pickings going on here with all of our position players. There's not a lot going on here position-wise.
What are you talking about, slim pickings? There's a lot of stuff out. There's a lot of players out there.
There's a lot of players, but elite players are very slim at this point. So there's a lot of guys that are going to give you one category really good, but maybe not the rest of them that good. So, you know, these are all things that you have to take into consideration and how you want to build your team. So let's see what we got going on here. We have, Brandon takes Buster Posey. I was actually thinking about taking Buster Posey there myself. So let's see what we got here. Let's see who's available. Now, I think that I'm probably going to end up going here with Anthony Rendon with my first of 2 picks here that I get back-to-back. I like Anthony Rendon. He's got a knee problem right now, which could be a big issue throughout the whole year. But I think I like where he's at right now, and I'm expecting him to be pretty darn good this year. So I'm going to take him first, and I think I'm going to kind of stay true to what I have going on here, and take a pitcher and a hitter. And my first one is going to be Rendon, who I'm going to take. And then pitcher-wise, I'm between a lot of different guys right here. I really like a lot of these pitchers right here at the top of the board. But I'm going to go with a guy who had a really big breakout year last year. You know, and it could end up biting me here. But I'm going to go with a guy who's on the rise as opposed to a guy who's fallen a little bit. And I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to take Corey Kluber from the Cleveland Indians. High strikeout. The guy did great last year. And I'm looking forward to see what he does this year. But you know what? I'm having second thoughts here, Manny. I'm having second thoughts. What am I gonna...
This is what it's all about.
I don't know. Oh, man, it looks like I drafted him. Man, I took him, and I didn't know if I wanted to or not. But I got him, and we'll see what happens here. So, we got Kluber, we got Rendon, we got Kluber. So let's look at some of the teams right now. Let's break them down a little bit, and let's go from there. So right now we've got Team G Code. Team G Code right now consists of Andrew McCutchen and Carlos Gonzalez, and he's got 2 strong pitchers in Steven Strasburg and Adam Wainwright. So he's got guys that are going to contribute in multiple categories all along. I really like what he's got going on right now. So Team G Code is looking pretty good. Now let's go ahead and let's look at your team here, Manny. So let's go to Team Manuel Ferrero. You got a very solid outfield right now at this point with Giancarlo Stanton and Puig, and then you also have Lester and Greinke, 2 pitchers also that eat up the innings, that rack up the Ks, that could be very good. So far everybody is nice and balanced. Let's take a look at Albert's team. Since he's listening, we'll talk about his team. He's got Freddie Freeman at first. He's got Adrian Beltre at third. Felix Hernandez and Chris Sale. So he's going to have tons of strikeouts, lots of wins, 2 pitchers that should be on 2 competitive teams, and 2 guys that are going to definitely contribute there at the corners and the infield. So far, Albert's team is looking pretty strong. I like where he's at right now. And we have Matt Harvey taken by Brandon Manassa. Let's check out his team now. So he's got Buster Posey at catcher, Brantley in the outfield, who's going to contribute a lot, and then he's got 3 very, very strong pitchers going to be tough to play against him here with Clayton Kershaw, Madison Bumgarner, and Matt Harvey. Again, guys that can really rack up the Ks, rack up the innings, and are probably going to be getting a lot of wins as well, too. You got 3 guys there that could potentially win the National League Cy Young. So Brandon's got a pretty stacked team right there. So let's see what we got going on here. So we're in the 5th round. We're moving through a 43rd pick overall. Matt Harvey just went off the board. We're analyzing some of the teams here. And here we have, let's take a look at Maiden Dade. We know Dyrone is listening right now, too, so we want to see what he's got. First base, we've got Jose Bautista. Jose Bautista at first base. In the outfield, he's got Adam Jones.
Hey, Dr. Ray, sorry to interrupt you, but really quick, I'm drafting right now. I think I'm going to go for a first baseman here. I have a couple of stars here next to Albert Pujols, Prince Fielder, David Ortiz. Which one stands out for you? Right now, Albert Pujols is my number 1 pick for this pick, I guess, right now out of those 3. What do you think?
Well, I definitely think that Pujols will probably not make it back to you for your next pick. But I do also think that you can probably get another hitter that could contribute similarly a little bit later on. Pujols is a little bit on the way down, similar to what we mentioned about Cabrera. I also think that you can probably get one of those other guys a little bit later. So I might hold off and look at another position that's becoming a little bit more scarce. But if you really got your heart set, I like Pujols, I like Fielder, and I like Ortiz. So it's all up to you, my man.
So what don't you like about Pujols?
He's old.
Yeah, I hear you, man. But is he going to be starting? What's going on?
Of course he's starting. All these guys are starters right now.
Yeah, brother. I'm going with Pujols, man. What's wrong with you?
Hey, man, there you go. It could potentially be a great pick. I mean, Pujols was first pick, for the last maybe 10 years. So, we'll see.
Oh, look at Maiden Dade is saying that if Manny wins, it will be thanks to Dr. Ray. Oh, man.
Manny's getting that professional advice. No, there are definitely no professionals here, but just having a lot of fun. So let's see. So you got Pujols off the board. Right after you, we got Alexei Ramirez coming off the board. Alexei Ramirez is a guy that's been waiting to put it together. I think this could be the year. I really like what the White Sox have going on for this season, and I think that he could definitely contribute. He's a guy that can maybe develop a little bit of power this year, possibly be in the teens with the home runs. And, he can steal some bases as well, too. If he can keep that average up, he's going to be a good player there. So we'll see what we have going on for the whole year, as we continue to go through the show here. So I know that we only have a couple minutes left here on the air, but, Manny, why don't we go ahead and go through round 6, and then we'll go ahead and we'll call it, and we'll just continue drafting off the air here. But we'll go ahead and we'll complete round 6. So right now we're coming towards the end of round 5 here. We got Jose Arias' team up there on the board. Let's see what it is that he's got right now, and let's see where he should go. He's got Goldschmidt. Oh, he goes with Nolan Arenado. One of the guys that I was telling you that could have a potential breakout year this year. I do like that pick from him. He's got Goldschmidt. He's got some position scarcity taken care of. There goes George Springer. Great pick. Young player, had a little bit of a breakout last year. He does strike out a lot, but he could potentially be very, very good. So Jose Arias' team is looking pretty good with Goldschmidt, Rizzo, Arenado, Hanley Ramirez, Justin Upton. He does need to get himself a pitcher, though. His offense is looking great. He's kind of the opposite of Brandon Manasseh's team. So those two guys might be good trade partners a little bit later on during the year. When one of them needs some hitting and the other one needs some pitching. So we'll see what we get going on. But anyway, finishing up here at the end of round 5, we've got 3 picks left. We've got Adam Tibia, bail bonds on the clock, and we've got Maiden Dade, and then finally Shelly's team. Let's take a look here. Maiden Dade, let's see what he's working with. He's got Bautista, Adam Jones, Adrian Gonzalez, and Johnny Cueto. So he's going for his 5th pick here. Again, there's a lot of middle infield that's necessary. for him and some pitching as well too. So let's see what he goes with. And sounds like we have a call, text, or tweet. Manny, what do you have going on?
Yeah, Albert is trying to tell you to stop helping me and let him pick these bums.
All right. So no more help for Manny. Well, that's good. You'd only have one pick left with some on the air help anyway. So we'll see what we get going on there. So good pick here. Looks like those speedy outfielders that can contribute are pretty much all going off the board. We've got our first closer taken here. Craig Kimbrell is officially going off the board. So he'll be dominating the saves, it looks like. There goes Prince Fielder off the board. So another first baseman down. Shelly's team is up again here, so let's see who Shelly's going to go with. And he's going to take Starling Marte. So Shelly's team is starting to come together pretty nice. We've got Carlos Santana taken off the board. Carlos Santana is an interesting pick, but he also qualifies at 3 different positions, catcher, first base, and third base, which is excellent. So sometimes that can be a great way to get some roster flexibility. So let's see what we have here now. Entering the 6th round here, we're on the 53rd pick. We've got Arencibia back on the clock. Let's see who he's going to go with here. He's got Abreu at first, Cano, Tulowitzki, so his middle infield is looking strong. His outfield is looking pretty strong. Bryce Harper, who is, yet to live up to the hype, but could definitely hit 30 home runs, in a year, and be a contributor to what could be a world champion nationals team. Tulowitzki, who has had his injury troubles in the past, but you could definitely see that he's going for those Colorado players out there because, hey, man, the ball flies in Colorado. So that's what we're looking for here. So guys that can hit, guys that can get extra stats, and if the ballpark helps, hey, man, that's all about being smart in this draft. So let's see who Gus is going with here. He ends up with Big Papi Ortiz. So he's got himself 2 really good first basemen. One of them is filling up that utility spot right now. So let's see what he's going to go with here. We got Ian Kinsler off the board. There from playing second base. So Kinsler, the second baseman in Detroit, is now off the board. So he's looking like he's in pretty good shape. Let's see what we have going on here. All right, it's time for me to start looking at who I'm going to be picking here. I'm looking at these positions that are starting to get a little bit scarce. Manny, what do you think about this draft so far?
I love it, Dr. Ray. I think it's going very, very good, man. I like the smack talk going on here. I love my team so far. I think we're going to go all the way. We're going to take the trophy, brother.
I like to hear that. All right, we got another call, text, or tweet. What do we got?
Dr. Ray, how about some comeback players?
All right, well, comeback players. As I mentioned, I think Jason Hayward, he could be a good comeback player. Now, if we're talking about coming back from injury, I think the number one guy that people are going to be looking for are going to be Matt Harvey and Jose Fernandez, and seeing how they come back after being injured and after having that Tommy John surgery. Those are 2 guys that people are looking to make a big bounce back. Also, Carlos Gonzalez, he had some injuries last year. Out in Colorado, he could be good. He was drafted fairly early. As far as that goes, comeback players, we're talking about injury. I really think that we're talking about those pitchers there and what they can do. And also another guy that I think potentially could have, a good year and kind of a comeback year is going to be actually Jason Kipnis from the Indians. Last year he had a bunch of injuries and a lot of things going on. I think potentially this year he could do really well and kind of get back to that second, third round draft value that he had a couple of years ago. So we'll see what we get going on.
What do you think about my pick that I just picked up, Todd Frazier from the Cincinnati Reds?
I do like Todd Frazier. Todd Frazier had a breakout year last year. He was excellent last year. He really brought up the RBIs. He brought everything. I mean, he was just great last year. So I'm looking forward to see what he's going to do this year. Hopefully, he can improve his average a little bit, and we'll see what we get. We'll see what we get from him in just a few weeks. You know, it's funny because the spring can have, you know, so many different types of players and you know, guys that come out of nowhere, like Chris Bryant, for example, is one of them. You know, who just was having an amazing spring, and we'll see what it turns into when it comes to you know, time to start playing. When he gets called up to the big leagues in a little bit, is he going to be able to keep that up? You know, that's what we're going to want to see here. So you know, we'll see what happens. Again, you know, nobody can predict the future, but you know, I think a lot of these guys could be pretty good. So I'm going to go with a little bit of an outfield and pitching here, and I'm going to go with Matt Kemp for my first pick, with the last one of the sixth round here. And I know that we're gonna basically stop the draft on the air here after the sixth round. So I want to thank everybody out there for listening tonight, and we're going to go with Matt Kemp for the last pick of the sixth round. And next week we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a draft recap. So if you guys, you know, had fun out there listening and you want to know how the rest of the draft turned out, you're not in the league, you're more than welcome to listen in next week, and we'll be going over what's happening. Thanks for talking with us here on the Hot Corner tonight, all about weight loss. Next week, DMRs and fantasy draft recap. We'll see you all next week on the Hot Corner. Stay well and be well.